Okay, so we'll begin. I want to welcome everybody to our September Executive Committee meeting. And we'll start. We have a quorum. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes that were distributed. Are there any comments? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, and is there a second?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, a few people, Ed and.
Okay, so the minutes are approved. Next, Chair's report. Okay, I have a few announcements to make. First, we're all over the moon about being able to continue Zoom. And I did speak to Assemblyman Dinowitz this afternoon and got a few more details. Jeff is the lead sponsor of this bill in the Assembly.
Oh, great.
Yes, and somewhat on the Senate side, there is a state senator from Manhattan. As you know, the big item was the rent moratorium bill. But what he was able to do was to tack this on at the very end. And it's his language. And we thank him very much. Now, it expires January 15th, 22. But it can be renewed. It depends on the COVID situation. So even the last go around, the open meetings law waiver was always, in flux. It was renewed several times. I don't have a crystal ball here, but we're very grateful that at least we know we have a few months. In fact, the rent moratorium, that expires, everything expires that they're passing today in their emergency session on January 15th. So we're just very, very grateful, obviously. Okay, let's see. I wanted to mention something about, as you know, Captain Melendez is retiring this month shortly, and there is a new program that's launched by NYPD that allows the community to be part of the input in selecting the next commanding officer. It's a nominating committee of 8 members. Kira and I are 2 of the 8, and the other 2 are the 50th Precinct Community Council, that president and co-president, and then the borough president has 4 spots that he fills. Kira and I have been on one call thus far with the group. We will be interviewing the candidates tomorrow, and it's many, many hours. This is a new program, so we're happy to be part of it. Let's see, next announcement. We have reached out to the Department of Health to try to establish some more pop-up spots in our community board for COVID, and to up our vaccine rate. And Kingsbridge Heights Community Center, they have done in the past pop-ups, but they're going to coordinate with this program as well, the Department of Health, and we'll go around, we'll ask other churches and see what we could do in the areas where our numbers are lower. We do have some great news on Ridgewood Savings Bank, the Sedgwick branch. Back in May, they announced that they were closing that branch, which is the only bank in Van Cortlandt Village. Basically, it's very critical. They were opening a new branch in Norwood. The good news is that they are opening a new branch in Norwood, but they are also planning to stay open in Van Cortlandt Village. So I want to thank, I know Julia and Nick, they were on calls with the bank, with their community investment officer. The community board wrote very strong letters to support the bank in their application with the New York State Banking Development District program. And that has been terrific, because because that bank is getting into that program, they have some subsidies and some benefits that, because the area has been established to be underserved, it's allowing them to stay open. They wanted to stay open, and then this gives them the ability to stay open. So that's, excellent news. I want to thank the Economic Development Committee, Nick, Julia, for all their work on this, the whole committee, really. And next week, Nick and I are going to a phase 2 of this application, where we're going to the bank, we're going to meet with state officials, we're going to meet with the BP's people. And so it's good news. Nice to have good news. All right, that's, I wanted to mention that at the end of tonight's session, we will be moving into executive session to discuss a few items. So that is, I think, the end of my report. Any questions? Okay, so we'll move on to next on the agenda, Dio, the treasurer's report.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Hi, everybody. Okay, so you should have received the report earlier, either last night, sorry, this morning. And sorry, just gonna pull it up. So the budget for fiscal year 2022 is $281,804. That's the number that I have right now. OMB is currently, that number might change slightly just because there were some hiccups with inputting the budget that we approved. But based on the numbers I have right now, that's the budget. So, and that includes an additional 5,000 from Councilmember Rodriguez's office. So we've allocated 32,299 in total for fiscal year 2022. And following that is the OTPS detail on table 1.1. And there we've allocated 7,637 and have 27,383 remaining right now for other than personal services. Let's see, and there are no budget modifications. So purchase order and accounts receivable, accounts payable update. We have encumbered 4,962, and again, some of that it's possible that it's lagging from from fiscal year 2021. So just due to the FMS system, so that will be cleared up, and we'll have a more accurate number once it is. And the rent and energy detail, that's there for your reference. The budget is 67,172. We've allocated 6,023. There's 61,149 remaining, and that is maintained by OMB directly. So that's just there for your reference. Any questions?
Any questions for Dio? Okay.
Yes, sorry, Laura, my hand's up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Let me make sure.
Yeah, I can't see hands either when I.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, just a quick question. Dio, frankly, I don't remember. 281,804 this year. Do you remember what the last 2 years were, the annual budgets, roughly?
I don't have
Or
that.
Kira, do you remember by
Yeah,
chance?
David, I couldn't give you the number off the top of my head, but this year it's about $17,000 higher, just because last year we were pegged for funds and the city returned $11,800, and we have an additional 5,000 from Councilmember Rodriguez.
Okay, thank you.
So
That's
it is a
helpful.
little bit higher than previous years.
Yes, that's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
I have a question about the previous issue. I got knocked off for a second, Laura.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, with the commanding officer selection committee, the police department is still making the decision? This is a recommendation?
Correct.
I hope the police department is making the decision. Yes, it is a
commissioner makes-
recommendation. The commissioner. And we can ask questions. We have a report to fill out within a very short time after the interviews with our comments and defending our comments, that kind of thing, but it's advisory. But this is a
Thank
new
you.
program. I think it's taken place in the Bronx and one other community board.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you.
Good. Okay, any other hands or questions? Okay, so we'll move on to the district manager's report. Kira.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I can't believe it's September already. I hope you all had a great summer. Hold on here. Office has remained very busy over the summer with administrative work, resident community issues, organizing our office. And I'm happy to announce that we partnered on an organic recycling event with sanitation department and local electeds. We tabled at National Night Out, and we were a sponsor of the NYCHA Family Day at Marble Hill. So thank you all for participating in any and all of those events. It was great being out in person, seeing people again. And we worked with the Doe Fund on a graffiti cleanup effort in Marble Hill. That was from funding from Councilmember Rodriguez last year. He obviously was happy with the work we did and gave us more money this year. Back in July, our office was flooded, as many of you probably know, due to one of the big storms, similar to tonight, I imagine. I hope it doesn't get flooded again. I immediately was able to dry out the carpets. Our cleaning company came and shampooed them clean. We purchased dehumidifiers and air purifiers just to help with the ventilation and the moisture issue, because we don't have any windows or anything to air it out. So that's behind us now. I sent out a calendar of budget consultations a few days ago. Materials have started to come in and will continue to do so from different agencies. So just please keep an eye out on your inbox for that. We do have some new chairs, so please feel free to ask me any questions. If you want to discuss any of the items, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. I do hope you're able to attend the budget consultation, because I feel like it's one of the only times we have face-to-face time with so many different agency heads. So I think it's important we're able to ask different questions, hear what other community boards' issues are. And it's kind of nice to know we all have very similar problems and we can work them out together. The 5 Yankee awardees received their checks and were able to go to the Yankee game on August 21st. And they sat in the judges' chambers, which was really exciting for them. The Yankees gave us an additional 300 tickets, which were given to different people in the district, such as residents at the Broadway Family Plaza, the NYPD Explorers, local Little Leagues, the colleges, community centers, and I received great feedback. And I thank the Yankees and the youth committee for this partnership year after year. Usually we're able to go to the Yankee game and have an event on the field, but those were canceled this year. So I was very thankful that we still got tickets. That's it. I look forward to a productive year with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Any questions?
Dan?
Yes, Dan.
No, I just want to, is our staff all back in the office now?
We started out that way, Dan, a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Since then, we've had some illnesses in the office, so we're back on one person or 2 people in the office at a time.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other hands? I'll have to watch for that. Okay. So we'll move on to discussion of draft 2023 capital and expense budget. First, I just have a few remarks. Over the summer, Kira and I, David, we worked on this list. We incorporated some requests where goals meshed. We updated requests. We checked with agencies on the status of the budget requests to make sure they were reliable and, what the funding was. Some of them, they were able to confirm that an item was fully funded. We had many conversations with committee chairs. So in the end result is we do have, by doing that, we have fewer requests, which lifts the numbers as far as our list up for everybody, which is a good thing. And I hope you've had a chance to look at it. It's still a work in progress, but I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. So which one are we putting up first? Expense? Okay.
I think I have expense up there.
Yeah, so while you're doing that, Laura, I want to make a comment. I want to make something clear here. I was not consulted at any time over the summer about this. Yes, we did speak before the summer about the prospect of having Kira try to combine like things like step streets and things like that into single units, and talking to agencies about projects that are in progress. And so that did help to shrink the list a bit. But there were some big changes to the list that I had no input to before at all, really, and certainly not before it was presented to the officers a week or so ago. There were some pretty big changes to a number of items. Some things moved dramatically up the list from outside of the top 10. One committee's request went from none in the top 10 to 3 in the top 10. And frankly, there were what the lawyers would refer to as ex parte conversations about that. And I think that brought about some of those things. I think it's a good list, don't get me wrong. But as chair of the budget committee, I was not consulted on this. And I don't think that's a good practice. I should have been in on those conversations. Now I've got the commitment from our chair and our district manager that I will be consulted in the future, or well, the chair of the budget committee will be consulted before any such changes are made into any of the orders or priorities of these lists. And I take the chair's word on it that that will be the case. But I do encourage the operating committee chairs, each of you, to look carefully at the list and make sure that it does reflect your recollection or your current feeling about priorities now, knowing what we discussed in May. I do think it's a good list.
David,
I
I'd
think we
like
should
to,
discuss it now.
I'd like to get to it. So I'm interested in.
Yes, thank you,
everybody's
Laura.
feedback.
I understand that, but I thought it was
Thank you.
important to get that notion across.
Thank
thank
you,
you.
David. We did meet 3 times since June, but that's okay. I totally get
I
it.
was not
Oh,
part of
no, I'm
any of
not, I'm
those
not arguing
conversations.
here. I'm not arguing here. I'm,
Actually, you are.
okay. Feel free. Let's see, I got my list. Do I have any hands up? Okay, so I don't see hands on the list for expense. Okay, Kira, do you want to put up the capital list? If that's okay, everybody's good? Okay.
One moment.
Okay.
Okay, so feedback on the capital list. What? This would be the first time in history. You guys had a chance to look at it. If you're good with it, then this is what the next step will be.
Laura, I
will-
see Rosemary's hand.
Okay,
It might be
I'm
a
sorry
quick-
that I didn't see that. You know, the participants part keeps disappearing on me and then I
I
have to keep clicking it. I'm sorry. Rosemary.
I might suggest that you slowly scroll through the list so we can look at it, okay? Maybe other people have it in front of them.
Okay, I'm
do
sorry.
not.
I have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I don't. So if you could just slowly scroll through it, as anybody wants to speak, that's fine, but I would appreciate that.
Okay, and we could scroll, right, keep going. All the projects will go in the statement of needs, whether they've been funded or not, because the funded ones are tremendous priorities for us over the years. So we will still follow them. the next step will be, we will put this list up on our website. We will send it out to civic groups. We will send it out all over, post it on Facebook. And then, people will come, hopefully, to testify at the October hearing on their comments on this list or anything else they wish to comment on. So we'll be starting October at 6:30 instead of 7 to have that public hearing.
Also, Laura, since it is a public hearing, we post it in the city record as well.
Okay,
Just so
so,
everyone knows.
right. Okay, so. if
David
you're-
has his hand up.
Okay, Rosemary, your hand is also up. Is that from before?
Sorry, that was from before.
Okay,
Get
Uh,
down.
David?
Yes, thank you. I'm just not comfortable with the idea of repairing the track area at the school behind Intech, which I went over to look at, and it is a big crack in there. But I'm not comfortable with putting it ahead of the step streets, which are a severe risk. They're in very bad shape, and I think that many people could get severely hurt. I think that the track should be repaired, but it is one crack, and the prospect of Junior skinning his knees as opposed to some of our elderly people or not so elderly people falling down the step streets. I really think we should reconsider that.
We'll talk to Sylvia about that. Sylvia?
I think that I understand what the situation is with the step streets and how important they are. However, this issue with the track, which also services the other schools there, it's not only for Intech. It has been in that kind of shape and getting worse for many years. It is a very expensive repair, and unless they start to get some money towards it, they can't patch it or they can't do anything about it. And I think that the children there are as important as the seniors, and hopefully the seniors don't go down the step streets. They would choose another way of going. Step streets in general are very dangerous.
Agreed. I'm not advocating because I'm not a chair of either of those committees, but the general wisdom of our group in May had this crack in the track at 20, and now all of a sudden it's 4. And Sylvia, please understand, this is not about you or your committee. I just look at risk in the community and impact on the community overall. And I just think that those step streets are far more dangerous and have a much broader possibility of risk on the community. That's all it is. I mean, I think that the crack in the track should be dug out and repaired. I went to look at it personally last week, but
Okay, I just want to say.
I just want to say
Yeah,
something.
sure.
In terms of the way you're looking at it, if you're going to judge by what we did in May, unfortunately, all of my budget items started, I think, after 15, and they went down to 38. Is that where you want everything to go because you feel that it's more important? You're making the decision that this is better for the community as far as step streets. I don't know. It should be in consultation. It should not be something of your own choosing. With all due respect, I find that really very upsetting.
no,
All right, You know what,
I-
I think that I'd like to intercede at this point because we're going to go into exec. We have other things to discuss. I'm going to say that the step streets are number 8 and Sylvia is number 4. So they're both in the top 10. The step streets, my be millions and millions more than fixing a track, to tell you the truth.
Probably true.
Okay, and so you could look at this 10 ways to Sunday. Unless somebody is willing to say, okay, I'll move to this and that, whatever. We're just, we're just talking in the wind here.
All right.
So I'd like to move on.
I just want to
Point.
respond to Sylvia's comment.
I
Sylvia,
really, all right,
Sylvia, this
last
is
one,
not,
and then we're
this is
moving
not
on,
my
David.
list. I am not standing up for any particular item because none of these are my committee. Again, this has nothing to do with you. What I put together in April was just a
David,
starting
I'm going to
point.
interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you because I want to thank you. It's very important that we know how you feel, but we are going to move on because we have already spent 10 minutes on this one thing. And I'd like to ask the entire executive committee, do they have any other issues to discuss before we move on? Because
That's
I really
completely
think,
inappropriate, Laura.
thank you, David. Okay,
The Veterans Committee didn't even make the top 40.
Laura, I think you're muted.
okay.
But we're gonna work much harder this year.
We're gonna work very, very hard, all of us. And you,
yes,
and you know
Lisa.
what? There's one little piece. There are things in here that are at the end, that letters are being written as we speak to elected officials about, or to agencies about, or even going on the district service cabinet meeting. Because there are issues that are, well, where is it with this and what we could do? This list is one way. There are other ways to push forward. I do consider the list the blueprint for us. And I want to thank the chairs and David and everyone for presenting this list. But there are many ways for us to advocate for the items on this list. And we have a meeting with Eric set up just for this reason, as our city council person, and with all of them. Tomorrow, we're meeting with another state senator to talk about what's on this list, where it is in their district, why it's important. All right, so I intend to be very, very active in this. And I, again, if you guys are horse trading, you want to have comments, please, and then we're going to move on. So let me fix this so I can see participants. Okay. And seeing no hands, I would like to move on to what's next on the agenda. I thank you, all of you. Okay, discussion, we did it. Committee resolutions. I think we have one. Okay,
Actually, Chair Spalter, oh, sorry.
I know, we didn't take attendance.
Right,
I know, I made a note to myself. Damn, okay. Go
Okay,
ahead, Lisa.
so I'm going to do attendance and speak up if I get anything wrong. I'll just be quicker. So I have present, I have Sylvia Alexander, I have Lisa Dowd, that's me, Diamaris Escanio Bell, Bob Fanuzzi, but coming in right after the minutes. Nick Fazio is here, David Gelman is here, Rosemary Ginty, Julia Gomez, Ed Green. I have Omar Murray, who came in right after the minutes, Dan Paternak, Laura Spalter, Deb Travis, Marty Wolpoff, and Sergio Villaverde. Not present at tonight's meeting, Bob Bender, Chuck Merdler, Ted Morris, and Jill Towns, and that's it. Thank you. That's the attendance. Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Like assignment.
Great job, Lisa.
Okay, so committee resolutions. We were putting up TNT. Who wants to speak to it? This came under June. Deb, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to it.
Yes,
So
of
the DOT presented a proposal to add an enhanced crosswalk on Greystone Avenue at 242nd Street. The intention was to connect an existing curb cut or pedestrian ramp, and the committee discussed it. There was community feedback on it, And the consensus, I think, was that the elimination of the 2 parking spots was was not really worth the installation of this. It also generally was criticized for not trying to look at that intersection a little bit more holistically, that there were other places where potentially the parking could be recovered, and that the border and edging with the park also looked like an opportunity that the DOT should also be paying attention to. I'll also cede to Dan, since he was, I was not during this discussion, I didn't happen to be on this meeting. So if Dan, if there's anything I'm neglecting.
No,
please
I think you covered it pretty well, except for the fact that DOT went ahead with it anyway.
Oh, yes, the DOT said that they were
So-
intending to do it over the summer. So I don't know whether it's moot to present the resolution at the meeting in September, the full board meeting.
I think that since it's been done, what do you think, Deb, Dan? Anybody else?
Flood warning, we're all gonna get. So
Yeah.
what I would say, Laura,
Yeah,
my opinion is this, it's a moot point.
okay,
The only thing I would like to see, our members, it might have been David who suggested from the beginning to add parking to that one side of the street. Navardo said he would get back to us, that he would
Oh.
respond to us. He hasn't given us information since June about that. Perhaps we just follow up on the additional parking that could be there on that side of the street.
I'm happy to follow up with DOT on that.
But again, I that's just a suggestion, Deb, you're the
No.
chair.
No, I agree. I mean, I like the way you're thinking about this. The presentation, the resolution itself is moot, so it seems silly to just
Mhm.
move forward with
And-
it.
Just to confirm, I think Dio lives just right there, maybe Dio.
Yeah,
can
I
confirm.
was just raising my hand to mention
Oh,
that
awesome.
oh,
It hasn't-
one.
it hasn't been done.
It hasn't. Oh.
No,
okay.
the problem is because there's a sinkhole right in that
Oh,
intersection.
right.
Exactly where they're gonna put it. And they haven't fixed the sinkhole in 2 months, so
Well,
I don't know if it's necessarily moot.
okay.
The
And with
sinkhole,
regarding the sinkhole, I believe that it was given to DEP. There was like a commissioner's notice given. So DEP has to fix that. And they've been, made aware of it, and it's on their work list.
Yeah, but the crosswalk isn't there yet.
Okay, gotcha. I thought I saw an email saying, look what's coming. But, okay, good. Okay.
all right,
So
so
Deb.
then it's back, it's back in play.
All right,
Yeah.
then.
Then, Deb, what do you think? Then we're
Sure.
sure it hasn't been done. Okay,
Yeah, if it
We
hasn't been
do
done, then
have
we might
a
as well
few
proceed.
more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Deb, I'm sorry.
No, I see it's you.
I just wanted to make mention that we have a few hands up, Laura.
okay, keeps disappearing. Okay, we have Sergio, Ed, David, and Rosemary. Okay, we'll start with Sergio.
Is it moot or not? My point was gonna be that if they've done it already, it's counterproductive for us to approve it afterwards. It kind of just shows that, we're out of the loop. But if it's not, then I think that's a key point. If it's already done, then we should not. If it's not, then I think it should be put on the floor.
I agree. Certainly, we could check in with DOT and DEP on that sinkhole. Those two agencies have to cooperate there. And maybe it's the sinkhole, maybe that's the reason it isn't done, but let's certainly watch this and try to find out more before we meet with the full board on September 14th. How's that? See what the status
I
is,
can do that.
Thank you.
whether it's moot or not moot. Okay. Thanks, Sergio. Ed,
Yeah, I don't think it's moot regardless, because whether it's been done or not, I just think it should be on the record that the committee opposed the DOT's plans, and they went ahead and did it anyway. But I think we should have it on the record that we were opposed to this.
okay, and it could also be a letter if it is done, rather than voting on a resolution, it should be brought to the board what happened and that something is going to DOT. But of course, this is only from the committee, and it would have to be open to the full board before a letter would go out. But, okay, Deb, do you want to think about that, or you want to respond now, or
I mean,
about, yeah.
about it being versus being moot and whether we want to do it as a resolution or as a letter, correct? Lauren?
Right, or what do you think should be done so that DOT and the public is aware of our feelings on this? Of course, this came from committee and it could be overturned at the full board, like anything else.
Laura, Deb, why don't I reach out to DOT tomorrow, get some more information, share with them this resolution, and I will report back to all of you. And then we can kind of further discuss and see how we want to handle it.
Okay. I think Marty and Rosemary have their hands up.
Yes, I have David and Rosemary and Marty. David.
Yes, just clear a typo. Gelman has 2 L's, and there was a reference to Commissioner Lopez not getting back to us. He has been on paternity leave basically all summer until this week.
Okay, thank you, David. Rosemary.
I'm going to throw my opinion with Ed Green. This item was important enough to go on an agenda. It was important enough that people in the community came out and spoke on it. It was important enough to come up with this wording and take a vote rejecting DOT's plan. I believe it should be on the record what the committee did. And I believe the full board should have the opportunity to endorse what the committee did in response to the community coming out on this issue. If we are going to eliminate resolutions coming to the board because DOT has decided to act regardless of our position on issues, you're never going to have anything coming to the board because they're just going to do what they want to do. We should go on the record on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Marty.
Yeah, I want to echo what Rosemary just said. Excuse me. Last year, we sent a letter to DOT in support of Community Board 8 in Manhattan and the bike lanes. The result, I never saw a response from DOT, but we ended up getting bike lanes we didn't want either. So I think we ought to go on record in general that DOT has not been responsive to the board. And just this resolution notes that.
Okay. Thank you, Marty. So Kira's going to investigate the status. And does the executive committee feel, have any other thoughts on on our full board putting it on? It seems that there's good reasons to put it on as well, just to be on the record. Maybe a whereas could be added as to what the status is, and the be it resolved might be tweaked as well, depending on what the situation is, but it would go to the full board. Does that sound like that might work?
Are you talking to me?
Anybody?
I mean, Dan has just raised his hand, so I'll let him speak and then.
Oh, no, I was going to say, if it hasn't been done, then yeah, we should definitely, in
Oh,
my
yeah, no,
opinion,
there's no
should
question
definitely
about it.
go to the board. And I don't necessarily know that we need any caveats regarding their status right now, unless we know for sure that DOT has this budgeted and they're doing it, which I thought there was a happening now, but I couldn't find it. So yeah, I think it should go to the full board.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
it sounds like basically that if it hasn't happened, we should certainly go to the full board.
Oh,
and we
yeah,
don't-
no
And we don't
question.
need to make a change. If it has happened, then we can consult between now and September 13th. If we want to tweak the language, but that there is strong enough opinion that that people would like to discuss it and vote on it, then we should just go forward and do that. And the only reason that I would say, that it's moot and there's no point is if no one felt particularly passionately about this or that it was important to go on the record. But clearly there are folks who do feel like that would be important. And so we should just have that discussion.
Okay, so we'll get more information and thanks. Good discussion. Sergio, is your hand up from before or now?
What's been before, I apologize.
No problem. Okay, so we don't have any other resolutions there. How about committee member issues for discussion? Anything that anyone would like to raise for discussion? Okay.
Say that
Ed,
again,
let's see, Ed. I see Ed.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought it was worth mentioning that, you know, one of the problems that's been plaguing us for a while is these illegal vehicles like ATVs and the dirt bikes. And it's kind of encouraging that over the summer, the police, the 50th, have confiscated a lot of these illegal vehicles, and they've, you know, sent us pictures, and they've really got a lot of them. So I just wanted to say that I thought that was worth mentioning, because that's something that is that's been plaguing the community for a while. That's it.
Thank you, Ed. Sergio.
I also wanted to thank the 5-0, and I'll make a note of it at the meeting. The noise at the playground and at Washington's Walk is much better on the weekend. Apparently, they're asking them to lower the music, so that's been a big help. And there's a new flag at PS 207. I want to thank Kiara and Laura for the assistance with that. A community member pointed out that the flag was in great disrepair. I emailed the office, they placed a call, and this week the flag was replaced.
Thank you, Sergio.
Very good. Any other?
That was an easy one. They're not all that easy.
You made it look easy, but yeah, I'll tell you that the community member was very impressed.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thanks, Sergio.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. We'll move on to follow up on outstanding issues. Any questions, remarks? Nothing? Gone. Okay, so I'd like to take this opportunity then to, let me find my notes here, to move into executive session. Just 1 second. I got too many papers in front of me here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'd like to move that in accordance with section 105F of the Open Meetings Law, that we move into executive session in order to discuss staff financial matter and also a real property update matter. I'd like to, is anyone opposed to going into executive session? I have to explain to the public that when we go into executive session, it's only for the executive committee to be present. So we have to keep it at that. The public has to leave. This is the last item actually on our agenda, and then we'll be adjourning, just so that you know. Now, Kira, how do we do this? Do we have everybody on now who are members
Yeah,
of the executive
Public,
committee?
feel free, you can leave kindly, and then the committee will come out of executive session and adjourn the meeting. So you don't have to come back if you don't want to.
Okay, but I still see them up here in
I
Yeah.
can remove
Okay,
them on
sure,
my
take your
end.
time, take your
I
time.
don't know, offend anyone.
But isn't it also true of board members who aren't chairs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone who's not on the committee.
Yes, it's just the executive committee, yes.
One more person. Okay, I think, is that everybody? Yes.
Let us know when we're good.
We're good. I'm gonna pause the recording.
Thank you, Kira. Okay,
Hold on,
I'm
I'm
going-
sorry, Laura, give me
Yeah.
1 second.
sure.
Laura, could you
Lisa,
speak up a little
do you-
bit because it's getting very windy?
Lisa, can you pause the recording?
Oh, here we go.
Want to say. Oh, okay, we're back. We're back recording in progress. So we're out of we have to vote to go out of executive session. Okay, so are there anyone opposed to going out of executive session? Very good. So we are out. And so I'll wish everybody, then it's adjournment, and I wish everybody a good summer. And again, I want to say how proud I am of the 59 community boards in the city that screamed and hollered and unified letters, calls, everything to get us back on Zoom, albeit temporarily. I just can't believe how, I know we in the Bronx, the district managers, they wrote their own letter. They were going crazy. All the chairs in the Bronx, it was very gratifying to be so united. It was amazing that we got this good outcome. So I think then we'll adjourn. Is there any, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so thank you all and have a great evening. It's 8:15. That's excellent, excellent. Let's keep that up. Okay, good night, everybody.
Right on.
Good night.
Right.
Night.
Right.